Eli had never been to Aurora 9 before. The colony planet was smaller than Earth but buzzing with life. Sleek metal buildings reflected the twin suns, and hovering vehicles zipped through the air like bright fireflies. He could feel the hum of energy in the air, a strange mix of technology and untamed wilderness. Humans had worked hard to make this place home, building cities, labs, and farms in the midst of rocky hills and glowing forests. He was here because of his best friend, Jax. They had trained together at the Interstellar Academy, but this was the first time Eli would meet Jax's family. He had heard stories about them, especially about Jax's mother, Commander Solara. She had once commanded a starship during the galactic frontier conflicts, and was rumored to be a tactical genius. Most cadets whispered stories of her daring maneuvers against alien fleets and how she could think 3 steps ahead in battle. Eli's curiosity was burning. As the shuttle descended through the atmosphere, Eli could see the colony sprawling below. He turned to Jax, who sat across from him. "You excited?" Eli asked. Jax gave a small, nervous smile. "Yeah, kind of. Just remember what I told you?" "Take." Eli raised an eyebrow. "About what?" Jax leaned closer and lowered his voice. "About my mom. Keep your distance from her lab. Don't touch anything. Don't ask questions. She doesn't like strangers snooping around." Eli laughed lightly. "Relax. I'm not a child. I can behave." Jax's face grew serious. "I'm serious. I know you're curious. But just listen. My mom's not dangerous to people she knows, but she doesn't like surprises. Trust me." Eli nodded, but the warning only made him more curious. There was something about Solara's reputation, her aura of mystery, and the idea of a hidden lab full of strange machines that made him want to see it even more. The shuttle landed smoothly on a metallic platform. The door opened with a soft hiss, and a cool breeze swept in, carrying the faint smell of ozone. Eli stepped out, taking in the view. Jax's family home was a sleek structure with curved walls of polished metal and glass, surrounded by glowing gardens. It looked like something out of a science fiction story. "Come on," Jax said, leading the way. "Let's meet my mom. She's around here somewhere." Eli followed him up the stairs. When they entered the main hall, he froze for a moment. Standing in front of a large holographic display was a woman with sharp features and an air of command. Her dark hair was pulled back in a tight braid, and her eyes had a spark that seemed almost dangerous. "Mom," Jax said, "this is Eli." Solara turned and studied Eli carefully. Her gaze was piercing, as if she could see right through him. Then, surprisingly, she smiled. It wasn't warm, but it wasn't cold either. It was a smile that suggested recognition. "Eli," she said in a calm, confident voice. Eli swallowed nervously. Yes, ma'am." "I mean, hello, ma'am." Solara tilted her head slightly. "Curiosity is good, sometimes, but some doors are better left closed." Jax sighed. "See? I told you." Solara turned back to her holographic display and waved a hand. The lights shifted, showing a model of the planet's energy grid. Eli's eyes wandered to a door, slightly ajar at the side of the room. Strange humming noises came from inside. He could see faint lights blinking and shadows moving. His curiosity flared. He glanced at Jax, who seemed tense. Eli knew the warning. He knew he should stay away. But something about that door, about the secrets it might hold, was too tempting. As they sat down for dinner, Eli tried to focus, but his mind kept drifting back to the lab. The food was good, a mix of synthetic proteins and real vegetables grown in the colony's greenhouses, but he hardly tasted it. Jax noticed. "You're thinking about Mom's lab again, aren't you?" Jax whispered. Eli hesitated, then nodded. "I mean, it's probably nothing, right? Just some old tech?" Jax shook his head. "It's not just old tech. She works on things that most people can't even understand. And some of it could be dangerous if handled wrong." Eli laughed softly. Dangerous? It's a lab, not a battlefield. Jax didn't smile. You don't get it. She's different. Not mean, but precise. Very precise. One wrong move, and she won't hesitate to correct it. Eli tried to shrug off the warning, but sleep didn't come easily that night. He lay in his small guest room, staring at the ceiling, imagining the humming machines, blinking lights, and strange devices behind that door. It was as if the lab itself was calling to him, daring him to enter. The next morning, Eli couldn't resist. While Jax and Solara were busy with breakfast, he slipped quietly out of the kitchen and walked toward the side of the house. The door to the lab stood before him, smooth metal with small control panels on either side. He paused, feeling a mix of excitement and fear. He remembered Jax's warning, remembered Solara's piercing gaze, and yet, he placed his hand on the panel. To his surprise, the door wasn't locked. With a soft hiss, it slid open, revealing the interior. The lab was bigger than he expected. Strange machines hummed and clicked. Holographic screens floated in midair, displaying alien landscapes, mathematical equations, and star maps. There were objects he had never seen before, small crystals that glowed, devices that seemed to shift shape, and containers holding swirling, colorful liquids. Eli's eyes widened. This was incredible. This was beyond anything he had imagined. He stepped inside, careful not to touch anything yet. He walked slowly, examining the machines, reading the displays, feeling the pulse of energy in the room. Then he saw a small device on a pedestal, glowing faintly. It was round, smooth, and pulsing like it had a heartbeat. Eli couldn't resist. He reached out, a soft alarm beeped. The lights in the room shifted. Holographic screens lit up, scanning him. Eli froze. "Who's there?" A voice called. Calm. Firm. Unmistakable. Eli spun around to see Solara standing at the doorway, arms crossed, eyes narrowing. "I warned you," she said, her voice carrying the weight of command. Eli swallowed. I just wanted to look. I didn't." Solara raised a hand. "Curiosity can be dangerous, Eli. Some things in this lab are not toys. They are human advancement. Things designed to protect humanity. You are not ready." Eli felt a mix of fear and awe. He had imagined meeting Solara as intimidating, but standing here, seeing her focus and authority, he realized just how serious she was. "I'm sorry," he whispered. Solara stepped closer, her eyes softening slightly. "Curiosity is part of being human. But humans are also clever. And clever humans know when to listen." Eli nodded, embarrassed but intrigued. The room hummed around him, full of secrets, possibilities, and danger. He realized that this lab and the woman guarding it were unlike anything he had ever known. "You will get your chance to learn," Solara said finally. "But not today. Not until you are ready." Eli turned to leave, his mind racing. The warning had been clear. He should have stayed away. But something told him this was only the beginning. Something told him that, despite the danger, there was a path ahead where humans clever, bold, and curious could rise to challenges no one else could face. And deep down, Eli knew he would be back. Eli could not stop thinking about the lab. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the glowing devices, the holographic maps, and the strange crystals that seemed to pulse with their own energy. He knew he should stay away, but his curiosity gnawed at him like a persistent itch. The next morning, while Jax and Solara were busy discussing colony reports, Eli found himself standing once again in front of the lab door. The metal panel gleamed under the soft morning light. He hesitated for a moment, recalling Solara's warning. "Not today. Not until you are ready." But readiness was a strange thing. Did he ever become ready? The urge to explore, to see what secrets lay behind the door, overpowered his caution. Taking a deep breath, he swiped his hand across the panel. This time, the door opened without a sound. Eli stepped inside, careful not to touch anything yet. The hum of machines filled the air like a soft symphony. Holograms shifted and moved, displaying everything from alien landscapes to complex mathematical formulas. It was a room alive with knowledge and power. Eli walked slowly, fascinated by a device that floated mid-air, projecting a tiny model of the solar system. He reached out just slightly to trace the orbit of a small, spinning planet. Then, something caught his eye, a round, smooth device glowing faintly in the center of the room. It seemed almost alive, pulsing gently like a heartbeat. Curiosity overwhelmed him. He reached out. The moment his fingers brushed the surface, lights flashed, and holograms spun to life. A soft, melodic alarm filled the room. Eli froze, realizing he had activated something. The device projected a holographic interface, showing a map of the colony and a web of energy lines connecting to every building and vehicle. "Access detected," a calm, metallic voice announced. "Human subject identified." Eli's heart raced. The device had scanned him, his DNA, his vital signs, even his thought patterns. He stepped back, suddenly aware of how serious this was. Who are you?" he stammered. "I am the Sentinel," the voice replied. "You have activated Human Advancement Protocol. Do you wish to proceed?" Eli's mind spun. Human Advancement Protocol? The word seemed unreal. He glanced at the door, tempted to run, but a strange feeling of opportunity pulled him forward. I don't know," he said quietly. "What happens if I proceed?" "You will gain cognitive enhancement," the voice explained. "Abilities designed to optimize human problem-solving, strategic thinking, and rapid learning. You will become more aware of patterns, more adaptable, and more capable of predicting outcomes. Proceed with caution." Eli hesitated. He had always dreamed of doing something important, something that would make him more than just a cadet. This was a chance. A dangerous chance, but a chance nonetheless. I want to try," he said finally, placing his hand firmly on the device. The room glowed brighter, and a soft hum filled the air. Eli felt a strange warmth in his body, as if energy was flowing into him. His mind seemed to stretch, senses sharpening. He could hear the hum of the machines more clearly, see the subtle changes in the holographic displays, and even feel the faint vibrations of the energy lines connecting the colony. It was overwhelming but exhilarating. Suddenly, a warning flashed in the hologram. "External threat detected." Eli's heart skipped a beat. On the map, tiny blips were moving toward the colony. They were not human. He zoomed in, trying to understand what they were. Alien drones, small, fast, and numerous, were approaching Aurora 9. Their design was strange and elegant, with sharp edges and glowing sensors. Eli realized that the colony was in immediate danger. Before he could react, the door opened, and Solara appeared. Her eyes were sharp, her presence commanding. "You've activated the Sentinel," she said, her voice steady but intense. "Do you know what you've done?" I didn't mean to," Eli said quickly. "I just wanted to see." Solara's eyes softened slightly, but her expression remained serious. "Curiosity brought you here, yes. But now, curiosity could save lives or cost them. These drones are scouts. They are checking for weaknesses. If they find them, they will report back, and more will come." The colony could be overrun. Eli's mind raced. He had learned something incredible, gained abilities that sharpened his mind, but could he use them fast enough? Solara moved to a console and gestured for Eli to join her. "You've been enhanced, Eli. That gives us an advantage. Humans are unpredictable. Aliens rely on patterns, logic, repetition. We are clever, adaptive, and fearless when we have to be. Your mind is now tuned to think in ways they cannot predict." Eli swallowed nervously. "What should I do?" "First, observe," Solara said. "See what they are doing, understand their patterns, and think of a solution. Your enhanced abilities will help you find a weakness they did not anticipate." Eli focused on the holographic map. He could see the drone's movements in detail, how they scanned, how they avoided certain energy lines, and how they formed clusters to communicate. His mind worked faster than ever, connecting patterns, predicting movements, calculating possibilities. There, he said, pointing. They avoid these energy grids near the hydroponic fields. Maybe we can lure them there? Solara nodded, impressed. Good. That's exactly what we need. A human solution. Your instincts are sharper than most enhanced AIs we have. Together, they devised a plan. Eli would pilot a small drone, using his enhanced perception to outmaneuver the alien scouts and guide them toward the colony's traps. Solara would coordinate the energy grids and defense systems. The hours passed like minutes. Eli felt alive, focused, and sharp. He had never known his mind could work like this, anticipating movements, understanding alien logic, and finding patterns that were invisible before. Finally, the moment came. Eli maneuvered the drone, guiding it carefully, baiting the alien scouts. The drones followed, predictably avoiding the traps, but slowly being funneled toward the energy grids. Eli adjusted in real time, calculating the timing, the speed, and the positioning. Then, with a surge of energy, the drones hit the trap. The grids activated, sending pulses that temporarily disabled them. The alien scouts were stunned, disoriented, and forced to retreat. Eli's heart pounded in triumph. Solara placed a hand on his shoulder. Well done, Eli. Humans are clever. We don't just adapt. We improvise, create, and surprise. That is our strength. Today, you have seen what it means to be human, and more. Eli looked at the map, the blinking lights of the disabled drones, and the colony safe for now. He felt a mix of excitement and humility. He had crossed a line, ignored a warning, and risked everything, but it had worked. Humans, with their curiosity, courage, and ingenuity, had triumphed. Solara's gaze softened. Tomorrow, we will begin proper training. There is much more to learn, and dangers are not over. But you've proven that humans, when clever and bold, can do the impossible. Eli nodded, understanding the weight of her words. This was only the beginning. The universe was vast, full of threats, challenges, and mysteries, and humanity, clever, unpredictable, and brave, had a place among the stars. As he left the lab that evening, Eli looked back at the glowing machines, the pulsing device, and the holographic maps. He realized that curiosity could be dangerous. Yes, but it could also lead to greatness. And deep down, he knew that he had only just begun to discover what it truly meant to be human in a universe full of unknowns. The warning had been ignored, but in its own way, it had been answered. Eli was ready to face the future, enhanced, aware, and more human than ever before. Eli woke to the hum of the colony. Aurora 9's twin suns were just rising, casting a soft golden glow over the metal buildings. The lab, with its glowing panels and strange devices, felt almost alive in the morning light. Last night's success still lingered in his mind. They had repelled the alien scouts, but the victory was temporary. The thought kept him restless. Solara entered the room, her face serious. Eli, we need to move fast. The scouts were only the beginning. Larger forces could be on their way, and we have little time to prepare. Eli nodded, still adjusting to his enhanced abilities. His mind felt faster, sharper, and clearer. Yet the weight of responsibility pressed on him. What should we do? He asked. Solara gestured toward a holographic map of the colony. Tiny red dots had appeared beyond the edges of Aurora 9. They weren't moving randomly. They were organizing, forming patterns. These are reconnaissance fleets, Solara said. They're mapping the colony, testing defenses. Soon, they will report back. If they find vulnerabilities, the real attack will begin. Eli felt a chill. He had seen the scouts retreat, but this meant a much larger threat was coming. His heart pounded. But his mind was unusually calm. He could analyze, plan, and act faster than ever before. Solara continued, "We need to find their weaknesses. Humans are unpredictable. That is our strength. They rely on patterns, logic, and repetition. We don't follow the rules. They won't expect our solutions." Eli studied the holograms, scanning the alien formations. His enhanced perception allowed him to see details he would have missed before. Gaps in their formations, the timing of their movement, and the patterns of their communications. "There," he said, pointing. "They're trying to coordinate, but their signals are slightly delayed." "We can exploit that." Solara's eyes gleamed. "Exactly. If we can predict their moves, we can strike before they know what's happening." For the next several hours, they worked tirelessly. Solara coordinated the colony's defense systems, while Eli studied the alien patterns and devised unconventional strategies. He suggested baiting one fleet into a decoy trap while preparing the colony's hidden energy grids for a counterattack. "You think this will work?" Solara asked, her tone measured but not doubting. Eli nodded, feeling a confidence he had never known. "It has to. We're unpredictable. That's our advantage." As they finalized the plan, alarms suddenly blared across the colony. Another fleet of alien ships had entered the atmosphere, larger and faster than the scouts. Their sleek shapes glinted in the sunlight, reflecting the twin suns in sharp, metallic angles. Eli's enhanced senses picked up every detail: the speed of their descent, the alignment of their drones, the timing of their sensors. "Prepare the energy grids," Solara commanded. "Eli, guide the decoy drones. We move now." Eli felt a surge of adrenaline. He piloted the decoy drones with precision, his mind calculating paths, angles, and timings that no ordinary human could. The alien fleet reacted, moving to intercept, but Eli's strategy forced them into the colony's carefully set traps. A pulse of energy erupted from the grids, temporarily disabling the alien sensors. They recoiled, adjusting their formations. But Eli was already predicting their next move. "They'll try to regroup here," he said, pointing to a narrow canyon outside the colony. "If we move the drones there, we can channel them into the energy nets." Solara's fingers flew over the console, adjusting the grids and amplifying the pulse fields. "Do it," she commanded. Eli maneuvered the drones through the canyon. The aliens followed, calculating their attack as if it were a game of strategy. But humans didn't play by their rules. Eli's enhanced mind anticipated every movement, exploiting the smallest miscalculations. Suddenly, one of the alien ships broke formation and fired a pulse at the colony's defense tower. Eli reacted instantly, redirecting the drones to intercept. Deflecting the pulse into the canyon walls, sparks flew, but the tower remained intact. Solara's voice was calm but urgent. "Eli, keep them moving. Don't let them regroup." He guided the drones expertly, weaving between the alien ships, using their speed and predictability against them. The canyon became a trap, and one by one, the alien ships were caught in the energy nets, their systems disrupted. For a moment, it seemed like victory was theirs. Eli's heart raced, not with fear, but with exhilaration. This was what it meant to be human. Clever, adaptive, and courageous in the face of impossible odds. But then, a new blip appeared on the holographic map. A massive alien vessel emerged from the edge of the atmosphere. It was enormous, far larger than any scout or fleet they had encountered. Its sensors flared, sending signals that instantly jammed part of the colony's defense network. Solara's face tightened. "This is not a scouting vessel. It's a command ship. They've called reinforcements. We're not just defending the colony anymore, we're fighting the start of a full-scale invasion." Eli felt the weight of the moment. The enhancements in his mind allowed him to see possibilities faster, but the threat was growing exponentially. One wrong move could cost lives. He glanced at Solara. "What do we do?" he asked, determination in his voice. "We improvise," she said. "We have no choice. Humans survive because we adapt. Because we think beyond what others expect. You've already proven you can do this. Now, we need to take it further. Solara activated a holographic projection of the command ship. Its structure was complex, with multiple layers and compartments. Eli scanned it carefully. His enhanced mind picked up patterns. Weak points in its defenses, timing cycles in its shields, and gaps in its sensor coverage. There, he said, pointing to a small vent on the underside. It's lightly shielded. If we can get inside, we can disrupt their systems from within. Solara nodded. It's risky. One wrong step, and it could destroy us. But it might be our only chance to stop them before the full invasion begins. Eli's mind raced. The plan required precision, speed, and creativity, all traits that humans excelled at. He felt his enhanced senses sharpen even further, seeing possibilities and calculating outcomes in ways he never could before. Then we do it, he said firmly. We take the fight to them. The next few hours were a blur. Eli, Solara, and a small team of human engineers and pilots prepared a strike. They modified drones, set up energy pulses, and synchronized their movements with precision. Eli's enhancements allowed him to coordinate multiple drones simultaneously, predicting alien movements before they happened. When the moment came, Eli piloted a small craft toward the command ship. The alien vessel's sensors detected him, sending pulses to intercept. But Eli anticipated each one, maneuvering with skill and creativity that no algorithm could match. He reached the weak vent, deploying a miniature drone that slipped inside the ship's systems. The drone moved quickly, bypassing defenses and transmitting data back to the colony. Eli felt a thrill. Human ingenuity was at work, defying alien expectations. Suddenly, alarms blared within the alien ship. The drones had disrupted key systems, creating confusion. Eli and Solara watched as the command ship faltered, its fleet losing coordination. Solara's voice was calm but proud. Look at that, Eli. Humans are unpredictable, clever, and bold. This is what makes us strong. Eli smiled, adrenaline coursing through him. For the first time, he fully understood. Being human was more than biology. It was imagination, courage, and the ability to act when others couldn't. They had turned the tide, but he knew this was only the beginning. The aliens would return, stronger and wiser. But humanity had shown its strength. They could adapt, improvise, and outthink opponents far more advanced than themselves. Eli had crossed a line from curiosity to action, and in doing so, he had discovered the true potential of being human. As the sun set over Aurora 9, painting the sky in shades of gold and purple, Eli looked at the horizon. The battle was far from over. But for the first time, he felt confident. Humans had survived, thrived, and turned the impossible into possible. And with courage, intelligence, and creativity, they would continue to rise no matter the challenge. The next morning, Aurora 9 was tense. The colony's energy grids hummed with power, drones hovered in precise formations, and the citizens moved with focused purpose. Every building, every vehicle, every piece of machinery had been optimized to defend the colony. The alien command ship had retreated after Eli's previous strike, but it was only a temporary setback. Eli knew that the real battle was approaching. Solara stood in the main control room, her eyes scanning the holographic display of the skies. They've regrouped, she said calmly. They'll come back stronger. But humans, if we act cleverly, can turn this into a decisive victory. Eli felt a surge of anticipation. His enhancements were at their peak now. He could see details others would miss: the trajectory of incoming ships, the timing of enemy pulses, and even subtle energy fluctuations across the colony. He had a plan, but it required every human to act with courage and ingenuity. Eli, Solara said, turning to him, you'll lead the initial strike. The alien command ship relies on predictability. Humans don't follow rules. That is our strength. Use it. Eli nodded, heart pounding but mind sharp. He had trained for this, even if only in part. This was the moment when curiosity, courage, and cleverness had to combine. The first wave of alien ships appeared over the horizon. Sleek, dark, and glinting under the twin suns. They moved in formation, attempting to anticipate the colony's defenses. Eli piloted a strike craft toward the front of the fleet, coordinating drones that darted like lightning around him. "Focus on the weak points," he said to himself, scanning the enemy vessels. "They cannot adapt as quickly as we can." "I have." The drones surged forward, striking at the edges of the alien formations. One by one, small ships were disrupted, their sensors temporarily disabled. The aliens adjusted, forming tighter clusters, but Eli had already anticipated their moves. His enhanced mind allowed him to think 3, even 4 steps ahead. Below, the colony's energy grids activated in precise intervals, creating pulses that destabilized the alien ship's shields. Eli directed the drones to exploit these openings, weaving between the flashes of energy with uncanny precision. "Keep them moving," Solara commanded from the control room. "We need to channel them into the canyon traps again." Eli guided the fleet toward the narrow canyon outside the colony, using the drones as bait. The aliens followed, confident in their calculations, but they were about to learn that humans were unpredictable. As the first ships entered the canyon, energy nets activated, trapping them in pulses that scrambled their systems. Sparks flew, and metal twisted under the strain. The alien fleet faltered, but then Eli saw it, the command ship descending rapidly, larger and more dangerous than anything he had seen before. Solara's voice was calm but urgent. "Eli, this is it. You must get inside the command ship. Disrupt their systems from within. That's our only chance." Eli swallowed and nodded. He guided a small, agile craft toward the massive vessel. The alien sensors flared, sending pulses to intercept him. But Eli's mind was faster. He dodged, weaved, and countered, using maneuvers that no alien could predict. Inside the command ship, he deployed a miniature drone, slipping past defenses and sending signals back to the colony. The drone moved with precision, disrupting key systems and creating chaos. Eli's heart raced, every moment counted, and humans had no margin for error. Back in the control room, Solara and the engineers monitored the chaos. The alien fleet was disorganized, struggling to maintain formation. Eli's strike had forced them into confusion. Humans, with their ingenuity and unpredictability, had seized the advantage. Suddenly, an alert flashed on the holographic display. A massive pulse was about to be fired at the colony. The energy could destroy buildings, vehicles, and infrastructure within seconds. Eli's mind raced. He could calculate trajectories, predict timings, and find a solution faster than any alien algorithm. "There!" he shouted. "Redirect the energy through the canyon. Use it against them." Solara quickly adjusted the grids, channeling the alien pulse through the canyon. The energy struck the trapped ships, creating a controlled explosion that disabled multiple vessels without harming the colony. Sparks and debris flew. But Eli's calculations had saved everyone. The alien command ship faltered, and its fleet was scattered. Eli continued to maneuver his craft, exploiting weak points, and using his enhanced perception to guide the drones. The aliens were clever, but humans were unpredictable. Every move Eli made forced them into mistakes. Every counter he executed widened the gap between them and victory. Finally, Eli's drone reached the central core of the command ship. It infiltrated the systems, creating a cascade of malfunctions. The ship shook violently, alarms blaring, and sensors failing. The alien fleet, without coordination, had no choice but to retreat. Solara's voice filled the control room, calm but filled with pride. "Look at that, Eli. Humans are clever, adaptable, and brave. We have turned the tide. This is what makes us strong. Our unpredictability, our courage, and our creativity." Eli felt a rush of exhilaration. He had faced overwhelming odds, piloted through chaos, and outsmarted a far superior enemy. He realized that being human was more than biology. It was imagination, ingenuity, and the will to act when others could not. The colony erupted in cheers. People poured into the streets, celebrating the victory. Drones hovered overhead, lights flashing in triumphant patterns. The alien threat had been repelled, at least for now. Humans had shown that no matter the challenge, they could adapt, innovate, and triumph against impossible odds. Solara turned to Eli, placing a hand on his shoulder. "You've done well. Today, you've proven what it means to be human. We survive not because we are strongest, but because we are clever, resourceful, and brave. Never forget that." Eli nodded, feeling the weight of her words. This battle had changed him. He was no longer just a cadet or a curious visitor in a mysterious lab. He was part of something greater, an example of human ingenuity and courage. As the sun set over Aurora 9, painting the sky with brilliant hues of gold and purple, Eli looked toward the horizon. The stars above twinkled like distant beacons, reminding him of the vast universe beyond. There would be more threats, more challenges, and more battles. But he now knew that humanity could face them, adapt, and rise above. Humans were clever, bold, and unyielding. And with courage and ingenuity, they could achieve the impossible. Eli smiled, feeling a sense of purpose and pride. The battle was won, but the journey had only just begun. Aurora 9 was quiet for the first time in days. The air shimmered with the heat of the twin suns, and the metallic structures of the colony glinted in the morning light. After the intense battle with the alien command ship and its fleet, the colony had survived intact. The energy grids hummed gently. Drones floated lazily above the city, and citizens cautiously returned to their daily routines. Eli walked through the streets, taking in the scene. People waved at him, offering smiles, applause, and words of thanks. He felt a strange mixture of pride and humility. Pride because they had triumphed against a superior enemy, and humility because the cost of failure had been so high. Solara approached him, her expression calm but warm. "You've done well, Eli. Today, you've seen what it truly means to be human. Courage, creativity, and adaptability, these are our strengths. We may not be the fastest, the strongest, or the most advanced species, but we are clever. And cleverness is more powerful than raw strength." Eli nodded, his mind still processing everything that had happened. I never imagined humans could make such a difference. The aliens, they were so advanced. Yet somehow, we turned it around." Solara smiled. "Exactly. That is what makes us human. We adapt, we improvise, and we act when others cannot. You have learned a valuable lesson, but there is much more ahead. The universe is vast, full of unknown dangers, but also full of opportunities." Eli glanced at the lab where it all began. The glowing devices, the holograms, and the mysterious enhancement device had changed everything. It wasn't just technology, it was a symbol of human potential. He felt a deep respect for Solara and her work. As he walked through the colony, Eli noticed small groups of engineers and pilots repairing drones, adjusting energy grids, and ensuring that the defenses were stronger than ever. Humans were not just surviving, they were improving, learning from each battle, and preparing for the next challenge. Jax ran up to him, smiling broadly. "You did it, Eli. I knew you had it in you. My mom's right, you're incredible." Eli laughed, shaking his head. "It wasn't just me. Everyone worked together. We all played a part." Jax grinned. "Still, you led the strike. The aliens never expected a human to act like that." Eli smiled, thinking about the unpredictability that had saved the colony. Humans were clever, resourceful, and bold. That was their edge. That was what made them extraordinary in a universe full of rules, logic, and rigid strategies. Later that day, Solara gathered Eli, Jax, and a few of the colony's top strategists in the main control room. Holographic maps displayed the aftermath of the battle. Some alien ships had escaped, retreating into deep space. But the majority had been disabled. Aurora 9 was safe for now. We need to prepare for the future, Solara said. The aliens will return. They will learn from their mistakes. But humans adapt faster than any algorithm. Today's victory is proof of that. Eli studied the map, noting the paths of retreating ships, the locations of damaged drones, and the areas where the colony's defenses had held strong. His mind worked quickly, analyzing patterns, predicting possible alien strategies, and thinking of ways to improve. I can help, Eli said. I've seen how they move, how they think. We can strengthen our defenses, make them even smarter, and train more pilots and engineers to respond faster. Solara nodded approvingly. Good. Humans are strongest when we learn from experience. Your enhanced perception gives you an edge. Use it wisely. Days passed, and the colony returned to a new normal. Drones were repaired and upgraded, energy grids were reinforced, and humans trained relentlessly, preparing for any future threats. Eli spent much of his time in the lab, learning from Solara, studying alien technology, and refining his enhanced abilities. He realized that the enhancement device had changed him, but it had not made him invincible. What mattered was how he used his intelligence, creativity, and courage. Humans thrived not because of technology alone, but because of their minds, their instincts, and their willingness to take bold actions when necessary. One evening, Eli and Jack sat atop a ridge overlooking the colony. The twin suns were setting, painting the sky in deep shades of orange, purple, and gold. Below them, the city glowed faintly with lights, drones hovering quietly as they patrolled. You've really changed, Eli, Jack said. You've become more than I imagined. Eli smiled. It's not just me. Humans are capable of incredible things when we work together. That's what I've learned. Strength isn't just about power. It's about cleverness, courage, and teamwork. Jax nodded. Yeah, I guess that's what makes us different from them, any aliens or enemies out there. We think, we adapt, we surprise them. Eli looked at the horizon, thinking about the stars beyond Aurora 9. The universe was vast, full of mysteries, dangers, and wonders. Humans had only begun to explore it, but he knew that as long as they relied on their ingenuity, bravery, and adaptability, they would survive and thrive. The next day, Solara called a meeting of the Colony Council. Eli stood beside her, ready to present strategies, improvements, and defense plans. She placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. Today, you lead not just because of your enhancements, but because of your mind, she said. Humans succeed when we are clever, brave, and determined. Never forget that. Eli took a deep breath and began explaining his ideas. The council listened intently as he outlined improvements to drone coordination, energy grid optimization, and rapid response strategies. His enhanced perception allowed him to anticipate threats, and his ideas were practical, innovative, and grounded in human creativity. By the end of the meeting, the council approved new protocols, upgrades, and training programs. Eli felt a sense of accomplishment, not just for himself, but for humanity. They had faced an overwhelming threat and proven that intelligence, courage, and adaptability were more powerful than raw strength. That evening, as the colony rested, Eli returned to Solara's lab. He gazed at the glowing devices and holographic maps, reflecting on the journey. The lab had been a place of curiosity, danger, and discovery. It had transformed him and shown him the true potential of humans. You've done well, Solara said, entering the room quietly. The colony is safe, and humans have shown their strength. But remember, this is only the beginning. The universe is vast, and we are only one species among many. But clever, brave humans, we can face anything. Eli nodded. I understand, and I want to keep learning, keep improving. We can't let the next threat catch us unprepared. Solara smiled. That is the spirit of humanity. Always curious, always bold, always ready to rise above. Remember, The universe respects those who think, adapt, and act. You've proven that today. As Eli stepped outside, the twin suns were low on the horizon, casting long shadows across the colony. Drones hovered silently, and the faint hum of energy grids filled the air. For a moment, everything felt peaceful, almost serene. But Eli knew the universe would not remain calm forever. There would be other threats, other challenges, and other battles. Yet he also knew that humans curious, clever, and brave would meet them head-on. He took a deep breath, feeling the energy of Aurora 9 around him. The colony was alive, thriving, and ready. Humans had survived, adapted, and triumphed. And in that moment, Eli understood the true meaning of being human: resilience, ingenuity, and courage in the face of the unknown. The stars above twinkled like distant beacons, reminding him of the vastness of space and the adventures yet to come. Humans had proven themselves, and the future was theirs to shape. Eli smiled, confident, ready, and proud. The battle was over, but the journey of humanity, bold, clever, and unstoppable, had only just begun.